memorized it when I was a sophomore in high school. I've never forgotten it.
Bless you.
And it's something I've done for my family many times, and I'm hopeful to be able to pull it off here for you tonight. So it's a song that when he played it, the original, he had a little band behind him. He was playing guitar, and Arlo Guthrie is talented enough to play the thing on the guitar and say the whole monologue at the same time. I am not that talented, so I can say the whole thing perfectly, and I can play it till the cows come home, but I can't do it at the same time. So what I've done is I've recorded the guitar part to be in the background while I actually say the thing. So many of you have seen this many times already, and I apologize for that. But it has become something of a tradition in my family, and I know in other families as well. So we're going to try to make this work here. Stand by. A little orchestration and 4-part harmony, stuff like that.
He hasn't even started.
That's the problem.
I can't stop once I start. I need to correct 2 things. This song is called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant. It's just the name of the song. That's why I call the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago. That's 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, when my friend and I went up to visit Alice at the restaurant. And Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. She lives in the church nearby the restaurant in the bell tower with her husband Ray and Fosh the dog. And living in the bell tower like that, they had a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be in. And seeing as how they had all that room, seeing as how they took out all the pews, they decided that they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. And we got up there and we found all the garbage in there, and we decided it would be a friendly gesture to take the garbage off to the city dump. So we took a half a ton of garbage and put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, headed off toward the city dump. Well, we got there and there was a big sign and a chain across the dump saying closed on Thanksgiving. We had never heard of a dump being closed on Thanksgiving before, and with tears in our eyes, we headed off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. Well, we didn't find one till we came to a side road, and off the side of the side road was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff was another pile of garbage. Now, we decided that one big pile was better than 2 little piles. Rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down, which is what we did. We drove back to the church, had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep, and didn't get up until the next morning when we got a phone call from Officer Roby. He said, "Kid, found your name on an envelope at the bottom of a half a ton of garbage. I want to know if you have any information about it. And I said, yes, sir, Officer Obi, I cannot tell a lie. I put that envelope underneath that garbage. After speaking to Obi for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we arrived at the truth of the matter and said that we had to go pick up the garbage and that we also had to go speak to him at the police officer's station. Now, friends, there was only one or two things that Obi could have done at the police officer's station. The first one was he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. And the other thing was he could have bawled us out, told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when we got to the police officer's station, there was a third possibility that we hadn't even counted upon, and we was both immediately arrested, handcuffed. I said, Obi, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on. I said, shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car. That's what we did. We sat in the back of the patrol car and we drove to the, quote, scene of the crime, unquote. Now let me tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this is happening here. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, and 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers and 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment that they had hanging around the police officer's station. They took plaster tire tracks, footprints, dog-smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. They took pictures of the approach, getaway, the northwest corner, the southwest corner, and that's not to mention the aerial photography. After the ordeal, we went back to the jail. Obi said he was going to put us in the cell. Said, kid, I'm going to put you in the cell. I want your wallet and your belt. I said, Obi, I can understand you want my wallet, so I don't have any money to spend in the cell, but what do you want my belt for? I said, kid, you don't want any hangers. I said, Obi, you think I'm going to hang myself for littering? But friends, Obi was, because he was just making sure. Obi took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head and drown. And he took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars, roll the toilet paper out the window, slide down the roll, and have an escape. Obi is making sure, and it was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice, remember Alice? The song about Alice. Alice came by with a few nasty words to Obi on the side, bailed us out of jail. We went back to the church, had another Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, didn't get up until the next morning, and we all had to go to court. Walked in and sat down. Obi came in with the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with the circles and arrows and paragraph on the back of each one, and sat down. Man came in, said all rise. We all stood up, and Obi stood up with the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and paragraph on the back of each one. Judge came in and sat down with the CNI dog, and he sat down. We sat down. Obi looked at the CNI dog. And then at the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was, and looked at the CNI dog. And then at the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and began to cry because Obi came to the realization that this was another typical case of American blind justice, and there was nothing that he could do about it. The judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs with circles and arrows, and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was. And we was fined $50 and had to pick up the garbage in the snow, but it's not what I came to tell you about. I came to talk about the draft, 1967. They got a building down in New York City. It's called Whitehall Street, where you walk in, you sit down, you get inspected, injected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. I got good and drunk the night before, so I looked and felt my best when I went in that morning. Because I wanted to look like the all-American kid from New York City. I wanted to feel like the All-American. I wanted to be the All-American kid from New York. I walked in, sat down, I was hung down, brung down, hung up, and all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things. I walked in, I sat down, and handed me a piece of paper, said, "Kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. I went up there, said, "Shrink, I want to kill. I want to kill. I want to see blood and gore and guts and veins in my teeth. Eat dead, burnt bodies. I mean, kill. Kill. Kill." And I started jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill. Kill," till the sergeant started jumping up and down with me, and we were both jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill. Kill," till the sergeant came over, pinned a medal on me, sent me down the hall, and said, "You're our boy." Didn't feel too good about it. I proceeded on through, getting more injections, inspections, detections, neglections, and all kinds of stuff that they was doing to me at the thing there, and I was there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was there for a long time, and I proceeded on through, and I finally came to see the very last man. The very last man. The man after which there are no more men. And he said, "Kid, we only have one question. Have you ever been arrested?" I proceeded to tell him the story of the Alice's Restaurant massacre with little 4-part harmony and orchestration. He stopped me right there and said, "Kid, did you ever go to court?" I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one. He stopped me right there and said, "Kid, I want you to go over and sit on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid." I walked over to the bench there. Group W is where they put you. You may not be moral enough to join the Army after committing your special crime. There's all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly-looking people on the bench there. Mother rapers, father stabbers, father rapers sitting right there next to me on the bench, and they was mean and ugly and nasty and horrible and all kinds of things. And the meanest, ugliest, nastiest one, the meanest father raper of them all, was coming over to me, and he was mean and ugly and nasty and horrible, all kinds of things. And he sat down next to me and he said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, "I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 to pick up the garbage." "What were you arrested for, kid?" And I said, "Littering." And they all moved away from me on the bench there, and a hairy eyeball and all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, till I said, "And creating a nuisance." When they all came back, shook my hand, we had a great time talking about crime, mother raping, father stabbing, and all kinds of groovy things that we was talking about on the bench there. And we was smoking cigarettes and all kinds of things till the sergeant came over, had some paper in his hand, held it up and said, "Kids, This piece of paper's got 47 words, 57 sentences, 68 words. We want to know the details of the crime. And you gotta say 10 tunes about the criminal arrest and officer name. Then you gotta say 45 minutes and nobody understood a word that he said. But we had fun filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there. I put down the master decree in 4-part harmony just like it was. I turned over my piece of paper. And there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else on the other side, in parentheses, capital letters, quotated, read the following words. Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself? I went over to the sergeant. I said, Sergeant, you got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've rehabilitated myself. I mean, I'm just sitting here on the bench. I'm just sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the Army, burn women, kids, houses, and villages after being a litter bug. He looked up at me and said, we don't like your kind, kid. We're sending your fingerprints off to Washington. Friends, somewhere in Washington, enshrined in some little folder, is a study in black and white, my fingerprints. And the only reason I'm singing you the song now is because you may know somebody in a similar situation. Or you may be in a similar situation. And if you're in a situation like that, there's only one thing you can do. That's walk into the shrink wherever you are and say, Shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk out. Now, if just one person does it, they'll think he's really sick and they won't take it. But if 2 people do it in harmony, they think they're both faggots and they won't take either of them. If 3, can you imagine 3 people walking in, singing a bar, Alice's Restaurant, and walking out? They might think it's an organization. And can you imagine 50 people a day? I said 50 people a day walking in, singing a bar, Alice's Restaurant, and walking out. Friends, they might think it's a movement. And that's what it is. It's the Alice's Restaurant Time Massacre movement. And all you've got to do to join is sing it the next time it comes around on the guitar. With feeling. So we'll wait for it to come around again. Sing it when it does. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Oh, I've jumped the gun. Dead in the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. Sorry, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. That was horrible. You want to end war and stuff, you got to sing loud. I've been singing this song now for 25 minutes. I could sing it for another 25 minutes. I'm not proud or tired. So we'll wait for it to come around again. This time with 4-part harmony and feeling. We're just waiting for it to come around again. That's what we're doing. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Accepting Alice, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. I said, walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant, but